What is up, guys? In today's video we're going to be talking about the Ranger AR because for whatever reason I've been seeing a lot of comments of people suggesting this weapon got buffed in season 4, or people in comments asking me if this weapon got buffed, and I don't really know where this rumor started, but no, the Ranger AR did not get a secret buff. I feel like it's just not overshadowed as much anymore by some of the better assault rifle options. So the Ranger AR is viable, and that's what we're going to talk about in today's video, but it did not get changed. It's been this way forever. I just think people are more accepting of it now. If you guys do find this video helpful or informative, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and comment down below what you think of the Ranger AR and if this video changed your mind. So people have been memeing this weapon forever, and I feel like that kind of pushed the narrative that it was terrible, but the Ranger AR was never terrible in my opinion. It was just that it wasn't the better choice. There was just always a clear-cut better rifle in the game. So Chapter 3 Season 1 is when this weapon was introduced, and the MK7 was ridiculous that season. If you guys didn't play Chapter 3 Season 1, it got nerfed hard in Chapter 3 Season 2, but Chapter 3 Season 1, MK7 was just hands down the best rifle in the game. And then in Chapter 3 Season 2, we had both the AUG, the Striker Burst rifle, which was really good, and then we also had the MK later on down the line. So once again, the Ranger AR just got ignored because it was the lesser option between those weapons. And then in Chapter 3 Season 3, we had the AUG, Striker Burst rifle once again, and the Combat AR, and those two, and the Hammer AR as well, but the Hammer AR didn't get as much attention last season. Mainly the Striker Burst and the Combat Assault Rifle were the main two ARs I saw people using last season, and I would say both of those were much better than the Ranger AR. But now we find ourselves in Chapter 3 Season 4. There's no dominant first-person rifle in the game currently. We do have the DMR, but that is more niche, and it's not as versatile as something like the MK or the Striker Burst was. So really all the Ranger AR has to compete against right now is the Evo Chrome Burst Rifle and the Hammer AR. So just the sheer nature of having less effective rifles in the game currently has made the Ranger AR seem a lot better in other people's eyes, and it's certainly more viable this season than it was in past seasons, even though nothing with the weapon changed. I've also seen a lot of people saying the bloom is reduced or that it has way too much bloom, and this is again one of those factors that I think just comes in from people not using the weapon. The bloom has been the same the entire time it's been in the game. It's always been a really low bloom or pretty accurate assault rifle, but when you're comparing it to something like the MK7, the AUG, or the Combat AR, where the bullets just pretty much always go where you're aiming, it certainly was less accurate than them. But when you compare it to something like the Hammer AR right now, I'll have the bloom of both these weapons on screen now, and you'll see that the Hammer AR's crosshair, I would say, is larger than that of the Ranger AR. They're close. It's not like it's ridiculously different, but I would say that the Ranger AR is the most accurate bloom-based assault rifle. And if you guys don't understand how bloom works, I feel like a lot of people might not because they started playing the game in Chapter 3. But basically, the larger your crosshair is, if you were to make a circle connecting the outer edge of each dash, your bullet can go anywhere within that range. And that's what makes the weapons kind of RNG and random. And it really just comes down to keeping your crosshair small at longer ranges, like by tap firing or bursting. That way you can fill your crosshair with as much of the opponent as possible, so you're more likely to hit a shot. So if you're just full spraying all the time, and a decent amount of your crosshair doesn't have any of the opponent in it, then you're likely to miss those shots. But the smaller the crosshair, the more accurate your weapon is, and I feel like the Ranger AR is actually a really accurate weapon, and it doesn't really have that much bloom. The main drawback of this weapon is just the fire rate, and I feel like that's what makes it really not viable in build mode, is because if you're playing against anybody decent, they're going to be able to easily outbuild this weapon. You maybe get 1 or 2 shots on them, and then the walls are coming up, and you're not getting shots through builds with this weapon. But in zero build, I think it can be quite effective. That lower fire rate is still a drawback, but it can actually be a benefit in a way too, because you can just tap fire this weapon. I'll have a clip on screen now. You can just tap fire this weapon, and once the dashes go to shrink, you just shoot again, and once you get that timing down, it's really easy to do. And your gun is basically perfectly accurate because you're just shooting when first shot accuracy resets. And you could do that really easily with the Ranger AR, or it's not as detrimental to do so with the Ranger AR because the tap fire rate and the full auto fire rate actually isn't that different because of how low the weapon's fire rate is. If you were to do something like this with the Hammer AR, which you might have to do at long range, you're really missing out on a lot of the fire rate because the hammer does shoot faster. So that fire rate is the main weakness, but it does also make tap firing with the weapon less detrimental or less like impactful than it would be with some other guns. So you could just tap fire it, and if you get that rhythm down, you'll have a perfectly accurate weapon that's always going to have first shot accuracy. So if you're someone who feels like the Evo Chrome burst AR and the hammer AR are just like too inconvenient or not like consistent enough past medium range, and you also like don't like the DMR for whatever reason because it is like, you know, more suited for long range, the Ranger AR might be the choice for you. I've seen a lot of people saying this season that they don't know what weapons to use or they don't really like anything. And if you were someone who had like previously judged this weapon as irrelevant because it didn't stack up that well compared to some of the ARs at the time, try the Ranger AR out. I think it's quite good. The main drawback is just the fire rate and the fact that it doesn't combo as well with a shotgun as something like the Hammer AR or the Evo Chrome Burst. Because with both of those, if you wanted to use something like the Prime shotgun or the Ranger shotgun, you could get by with no SMG and then just use your Hammer AR or your Evo Chrome Burst as both an assault rifle and like a close range spray weapon replacement. You know, they're versatile enough in that way, but the Ranger AR really isn't. So unless you want to use the Evo Chrome shotgun, if you wanted to use something like Ranger AR and Evo Chrome shotgun, I think that could work quite well. But if you wanted to use the Prime shotgun, the Ranger shotgun, the lever shotgun, you probably are going to want an SMG to go with it. And that's like the kind of the main drawback of this weapon is it doesn't suit itself to a 2-gun loadout as much as some of the other ARs. But the SMGs this season are quite good. It's not the end of the world to have to use one, especially with boogie bombs being vaulted. In the next update, you could run something like Ranger AR, Prime shotgun, rapid fire SMG, chug splashes, and shockwaves. And I think that would be quite good. So boogies being vaulted makes the requirement for a 2-gun loadout less necessary, I think. And SMGs, it won't feel as bad to have to carry an SMG, I think, when boogies are vaulted. But that is going to be it for this video. I'm going to let the gameplay play out, showing a win I recently got using the Ranger AR. I think it's a good weapon. It's not my preferred weapon. I would rather use the Hammer AR or the Burst, but for some people, this might be your preferred weapon. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the Ranger AR, and if you guys did enjoy this video, remember to give it a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. I don't see them anymore. I don't know where they went. Bro, if I had a DMR right here, it'd be so nice. I don't even know if I could break these rocks. I'm not that familiar with this area. Okay, we can. We got zone. Getting zone is like not ideal for me though, because now everyone's gonna focus us and we don't really have that defendable of a position. Like there's nothing here that you can really play around well. That guy's just gonna stay up top there and just repetitively throw shots at us. And this fight is just so much easier for him than it is for me because they both have DMRs. Really getting hunted by wolves. But if we had like a porta bunker or something, that would be so nice. Nice, okay. That person just helped us. He can probably see us quite well through this grass because of where he is. But we just want to waste his time. Because when he can no longer be on that statue, our life gets a lot better. That's unfortunate. I would have liked to hit more shots there. He's going to land on that little island. I think we go to third party this. This man's a blob. Die! Oh my gosh. That was almost bad. I tried to pickaxe that man. 2 opponents remain. They should fight, yeah. This is awkward. That didn't count? Oh my gosh, what were those people doing in game? But that's what I was trying to avoid. You saw like too many people clumped up in this bush. That's why I rotated back here when I was saying there's no defendable positions in the zone. Because if everybody pushes into me when I have a spot that isn't actually like defendable, we're just going to eventually get third party and lose. That was so awkward. Those people in game were not the best, but that is always how zones like that play out. Like water zones or just really obscure zones like that always play out in such a weird way. I feel like that is not necessarily the best at determining the better player. I feel like some of the better players definitely died earlier on. If you guys did enjoy this video or find it interesting to see me use something different, if you're going to try out the Ranger AR, let me know down in the comments below. Like I said, I think it's an underrated weapon. I don't think it's the best thing in the game, but if you're someone who's been struggling to decide what assault rifle you want to use, and you just don't really like anything, give the Ranger AR a second shot. So many people kind of meme on this gun when it's really not that terrible. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.